Everybody all right? It's Wednesday. We made it. All right. I don't know if y'all see when you first join the live, there's a well, I had a logo up there, but I've just changed it. I created kind of a new thumbnail for it. I mean, TikTok doesn't call it a thumbnail, but that's what it is. No, yeah, kind of throws me off too. That's why I had to run back in and grab this coffee before we started. Hey, Jessica, good morning. Yeah, anyway, I was just looking for a new thumbnail, and I created one yesterday that I like really well. So I don't know if you saw it when you first joined this morning or not, because I don't see exactly what you see on your end. I did have the Dave Shop logo in place, but now it's a picture. I wish I could share that with you. Wonder if I could do that. Wouldn't that be neat? And then I could get your opinion. Hey, good morning. How you doing? So YouTube's doing an A/B test on it. I've uploaded 2 or 3 different thumbnails to see, that when I say A/B testing, it's a new feature with that YouTube has, and it kind of basically tells you based off of the clicks, what gets people's attention and what doesn't. Thank you for the heart, me. Dungan 17. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Morning. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna move this over here just a second. I'm just curious. Is that the one? Yeah. I'm gonna copy that. There it is. I don't know if I can paste this in the. I thought maybe I might be able to paste it in the comments, but I wasn't able to. Morning of July. Yeah. Here in Texas, we had a little warm front. It was like, I think they said it's going to be like 75, 77 degrees today. Current temperature outside, what was it? Current temperature, I want to say it's, probably in the 50s or 60s outside. You see, I'm able to wear short sleeves. Now I do have that heater on. I can turn that off now. Probably this one over here too. Yeah. All right. Morning, Donna. How you doing? Hope everybody's so. Like I said, I'm gonna call this Whatever Wednesday because I didn't really have anything specific planned for Wednesday, but we always make it work. I'll have to send y'all some. Like I said, I don't know if you saw it when you first joined the live. If you see that little thumbnail on TikTok, and my YouTubers, you're gonna see where now you see my lives after YouTube's finished with them. You'll see like Dave Shop. I've created what I think is a better looking thumbnail for the live, and so y'all will have to let me know what your opinion is if you see it. And I really wanted to see if I could share it, but doesn't seem like it wants to. Thank you. Life's adventures. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Life is an adventure. So Christmas shopping where's everybody at on that? Have y'all finished or not finished? User 7625. Thank you for joining. Hey, not to be overly nosy, but just so I don't have to call you user 7625, what's your name? Give me your first name. Morning. Hey, Lynn, thanks. I appreciate that. I don't have any hair on my head, but I can grow a good mustache. So Chris got a couple things. I've gotten a couple things, but nothing big. Girls over here on YouTube, give me some kind of idea. What's a good Christmas present? Don't say diamond rings, because I know all women like diamond rings. Hey James, how's it going? I like your handle, James. Though life's an adventure, and it says keep getting. I'm guessing it means keep getting it right. I don't know, but I do like that handle. It's long though. But hey, James, I appreciate you joining. Where are you from, James? Supposed to be 70. Yeah, they said, Chris, they said that I just heard it on the news. Sometime this afternoon, I guess a new cold front is blowing in, and the winds are supposed to get up to about 30, 35 miles an hour. And then in the morning, it's supposed to be, back in the 30s. So that's Texas weather. If you don't like it, wait a minute, and it'll change. Chloe. Is it Chloe Mental? Nice mustache. Thanks. I appreciate that. Keeping it real. Absolutely. 4:54 a.m. Skyla, where are you at? What part of the country are you in? So it's 4:54. So you're only an hour behind us. Mountain time? Let's see. She says, okay. I guess you're in mountain time, because mountain time we're in Central Standard Time here in Central Texas. So yeah. But I got up at 4:15, so I know what it's like to be up at that time of morning. That's why I'm always just super excited about anybody that joins the live this time of morning. And I know people get up and, they have to go to work and stuff. But, let's face it, 5:45 in the morning is probably not the optimal time for everybody. But there are a group of people that are up, either going to work, coming home to work, getting ready for work. If you have kids, a lot of times they're getting that done. Big Jake over here on TikTok. How's it going, buddy? So yeah, it's been crazy. And like I said, I'm always just tickled to death everybody who joins this time of morning. Now, there's a few of us that have been doing this for several months now. And like I said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the support that I get. It's without all of you guys joining, I wouldn't even do this. There wouldn't be any reason for doing it. So I'm constantly trying to look for things to make the live more interesting and do different things. Post videos throughout the day. Hey, I want to show y'all this. Now, I posted a video last night, and just so you know that I am a TikTok affiliate, or I'm an affiliate in general. I sell stuff on TikTok and YouTube and Amazon and all that. But this is a pair of Bluetooth wireless earbuds that I got sent to me as a gift from a company out of Fort Worth, Texas. And I hate to tell you, I got it through TikTok. I mean, that's their vendor on TikTok. And I was a bit surprised when I got it. And here, I got the box right here, just so everybody can see. And I had never heard of this company. Have you heard? Has anybody heard of this company before? Ruckus Wireless. So like I said, these are made in the. Hey Nick, thanks man, I appreciate it. These are made here in the United States. You know, they didn't come from China. They, as Mowing God says, they came from another country because everything's bigger in Texas, they say. But I want to tell you, so I think their claim to fame on these, and the name of the company that sells them, I want to just let you know. So I want you to see this because this is kind of funny. So I'm going to hold it up there. Hopefully you can read it. And I'm going to hold it right there. Okay, so it's Elgin, and it's spelled Elgin. I have heard that pronounced Elgin. Here in Central Texas, we call it Elgin because there's a city east of Austin known for its barbecue restaurants and right there off 290, as if you were headed towards Houston. Thanks, Nick. And it's called Elgin, and people move here and they call it Elgin, and we have to correct them. And I think there's a place also called Elgin, Illinois, but I don't see Ed on this morning, so I couldn't confirm. If anybody's from Illinois and can confirm that there is a place called Elgin. Yeah. Mowing God. So do they pronounce that Mowing God? Do they pronounce it Elgin or Elgin? Your way or my way, or what they say, your way or the highway. But anyway, so, these have like some little clips. You can clip them to your collar and just kind of put them on there. And they have the reason I like these is because if you're ever out mowing the grass or you're outside working or something, you get to sweating, especially in the summertime, and you have those earbuds and you're trying to maybe listen to a podcast or make a phone call or any of that, and you start sweating, they fall out of your ear. People lose those type of earbuds all the time. It doesn't matter what brand it is, but these have the straight rubber. These are not rubber, it's like a silicone, and they charge with a USB cable. But I want to tell you, and they have a noise canceling speaker. When I first saw these, I thought, well, these are just, that's it. That's all there is to it. One side has the USB charging port on it. Well, it's actually on this side. On the side, and then right here at the top, I'll hold it up. Let me hold it up there. You see that? The center button turns it on, and then you can adjust the power. You see that? Okay. But I was really stunned how well they work. And not only can you listen to podcasts and the sound, you can use them like noise safety because they are OSHA approved, and they cut out like 25 decibels out of the outside noise. And what really impressed me is I thought, how are you going to use those to make a phone call? Well, I knew they would Bluetooth to your phone, but I didn't know that you could make phone calls. But sure enough, it's got a noise canceling speaker built into this. And I was outside. I tested it. I fired up the riding mower and was just sitting on it and made a phone call. And I said, can you hear me clear on the other end? The person I was calling was a friend, and they're like, yeah, I can hear you perfectly. I said, do you hear the engine of the mower? And they're like, well, I can hear a slight background, but nothing, nothing major. Are you playing Roblox? Skyla's playing Roblox. I'm not much of a gamer, but I've heard of that game before. But anyway, so I guess the main thing that really, one, they're good quality. If you were looking for something like this, it'd be great. Go to the video, and there's the shopping cart and all that other fun stuff. But what really I like the best is that they're made in the United States. They're not from China. And I know a lot of people like to support the USA and things. Isn't it crazy that we have become accustomed to oh, really? So where are you at if Elgin's only 20 miles from you? Are you towards Houston or sorry guys, are you towards Houston? Life's an adventure, or back towards Austin? But we've gotten used to you buy anything anymore and you go Bangladesh. Rarely do you see something that says made in the USA. And so when I was looking at this box and I said, what? Wait a minute here. Let me look at this. It says it's designed in Fort Worth, Texas, and it's manufactured there. I'm like, you don't see it very often. Even on the back of it, it says Elgin, USA, Fort Worth, Texas. And anyway, so maybe if you're looking for some of these, check this company out. And they're available on Amazon too. I think right now the TikTok shop has free shipping on them, and I think they're about $10 cheaper on TikTok shop right now than Amazon. But if you feel more comfortable with Amazon, you could also get them there too. So wherever, whatever. If you're looking to support a local company here in Fort Worth, Texas, well, absolutely give these guys a check them out. And they're not sponsoring anything. I just Rockford, Illinois. Okay. Yeah. Cecilia joined over here on YouTube. So yeah. So what do y'all think about that? Do you think that we have just become accustomed to everything coming from another country, a third world country? You just don't, I can remember one of the, just as an example, the Levi's when I was a kid, used to be made in San Antonio, Texas. And now they're being made in Mexico. So, and of course our cars even, a lot of them will say, well, we have a plant in wherever, Dallas. And yeah, they do have a plant there, but all the parts that they use to build the cars with come out of another country. And I never have understood that. I never have understood the fact that other countries will manufacture our products or products. Can you imagine if we were to get into some type of conflict, like a major conflict, not just, this lobbing stuff, but if we were to get in a major context and some other country that we got, I don't know, pick an item that you use a lot. And just imagine if they said, nah, we're not going to sell that to you anymore. And here's what, of course, I don't think this would ever be the case, but let's use toilet paper as an example. Can you imagine if we got all our toilet paper from Bangladesh, where it was manufactured and packaged, and it was sent to the United States, and Bangladesh got a crappy attitude, just said, we're going to cut you off there. Can you imagine what that does? So now equate that to something that's really important. Not that toilet paper is not important. It is. Y'all are all laughing right now, I know. I think y'all have a crappy attitude. I guess my point is just think about all the things that we just buy and we don't even think where it's made. Now, if you see China, you're like, okay, whatever. It was a cheap price. And not that China doesn't manufacture stuff that's they manufacture stuff. I buy stuff all the time that says made in China, and they're fine. And I mean, we got a lot of brand names. I'll use Ryobi Tools for an example. Their batteries, where are their batteries made? In China. And, everybody wants to, I've promoted some replacement batteries for all the cordless tools out there, Ryobi, Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee. And I've had like some hate mail sent to me like, oh my God, what the world, you're promoting a battery that's made in China. And I have to remind them, well, the one you're using is also made in China. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, look at the bottom of it. They're all made in China. We don't make those batteries in the US. And they, I've had people say, oh, that's going to burn your house down. And, it's just a lie. Because one, they wouldn't be sold in the United States unless they meet certain regulations, and they do. Now, could they use, could you get a battery that's bad? You could. But guess what? You can get a Ryobi battery that's bad or a Milwaukee battery that's bad. And, my argument is you see this all the time. And I see it, especially with Ryobi. Somebody gifts or maybe they buy it for themselves. They buy themselves a drill, because let's use a drill, because a lot of people have drills at home. Even if they're not really mechanical, they'll have a drill. And maybe they bought it like a combo kit. More than likely it came with a little charger, a lower end battery, maybe a 2Ah battery or so. And they don't use that drill every day. Morning. Ed was you under snow yet? No. Sun's shiny and 77 here today. Ed probably had to go shovel snow this morning, if I had to guess. But yeah. So back to my story. My point is that people buy those, they don't use them very often. Then they go back to get their battery, and it's been sitting on a shelf or in a drawer for 6 months, maybe a year, since they used the drill last, and the battery's bad. And they didn't register anything because they didn't think about registering the tool on Ryobi's website. So Ryobi won't help them out, even though the item would have been under warranty. And so they're like, well, they just, set the drill to the side. I'll go buy another drill because they need it, right? And they go and you can buy that drill and battery, the tool, a new one for, under $100. Because if you had to buy just the battery, it would cost you nearly $100. And so that's where these replacement batteries come in, because you can usually get a couple of batteries for a third of the price. Now, granted, they don't have the 3-year warranty, but most of them will have a 1-year warranty on them. And I mean, I've had 2 or 3 that I've used, and I really started seeing this in the field. And so when you start seeing contractors sending their guys out with, and they might have a Milwaukee tool, or you don't see a lot of them use Ryobi, but it's usually Milwaukee, DeWalt, Makita. So they're using the high-end tools. Thank you for the fan club join. Appreciate that. And then you look down and realize that they're using a replacement battery. Why? Well, because these guys leave the tool on the job sites. They're really rough on them. And the person who owns the business has figured out that instead of spending $100, $150, sometimes $200, depending on the size of the battery for a tool, they could buy 4 or 5. And they're like, if they lay that one down, I'm out $15, $20. They lay down one that's got the brand name on it. they're out $200. So there you go. That's my argument on replacement batteries. I think you can save yourself a lot of money. I'm not saying you shouldn't use the brand name, because I have both, but I haven't had any problem. And I have another company that reached out to me, and they're not on TikTok, and I don't think I've even seen them on Amazon, or maybe a little bit on Amazon. And they sent me a battery for a Milwaukee tool. And some of those, you don't have that problem with Ryobi, but I've seen some of these replacement batteries that slide on. Do I have that drill?
I do have it.
Okay. So there's my Milwaukee driver. And that's the replacement battery. Okay. And so you're like, wow, that's not red. It's because this is the company that makes this called Vannon, and it's their high end battery. So I think this is a 5AH battery. So it's a 5 amp battery, but it has the little, you can see it's got the little thing on it. And I haven't done a video on this one, but I'm going to. But look how easy that slides right into that tool. Just like if you were using one from Milwaukee. And this battery, I think for a 5AH battery, is about $40 for the Pro line. Now the regular line is even more affordable, but for this particular line, this is their top of the line battery, about $40. You go to Home Depot, do the research yourself. You'll find out that if you buy a 5AH Milwaukee battery, you're going to pay a whole lot more money for it. So yeah. So anyway, that's kind of my question is, why have we gotten so used to buying items that are made outside the United States? And Ed, I'm sorry, I'm kind of doing a show and tell of a product that I picked up, but I want you to see it. It's a pair of wireless earbuds, and they're made in Fort Worth, Texas. And I was kind of stunned because I got them through the TikTok shops. So they sell there, but they also sell on Amazon. And it just kind of led into the conversation of, why have we gotten so used to just buying products that say China, Bangladesh, this, that, and the other? Why are we not making products in the United States? And I know the government, they all talk a good game, but they don't really do anything about it. And, some people say, well, these big corporations can go overseas and make more money. And so, I don't think Trump does everything right by a long shot. But, if he's trying to make these companies move back to the United States and move the manufacturing back to the United States, if he's able to accomplish that one thing, which I'm not sure he is, but, if he is, I think we'll be way better off as a country. And I think we need to be dependent on ourselves and not other countries to manufacture, and that even leads me into another conversation, which is our beef, our ranchers. They're wanting to, they do import tons and tons of beef into the United States. I don't get that. I don't understand why we, if you're going to spend taxpayer money to, what's one guy said? We used to have all that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the baby boomers. Absolutely. So, and it's like Ed's saying, the solution to this problem is it's not going to happen overnight. I'm the first one to say it won't happen overnight. But I don't understand how we can go out and give away $1 billion to some other country, but we can't give $1 billion to promote our ranchers in the United States that are raising cattle and can feed us. Why is that? I mean, if you're giving away taxpayer money, why can't we give it to the ranchers and farmers that are right here that are trying to feed us? You know why most people don't buy from ranchers? Is because it's more expensive, because these big meat packers have, they're importing beef from other countries that, they just lowball the price because they don't want the local ranchers to be able to make a living. My opinion. So, I think when they want to give taxpayer money to our farmers and taxpayer money to our ranchers, I don't think the government managing our money's very good anyway. They're not good stewards of all of our hard-earned money, but I think they got to stop cutting out U.S. businesses and ranchers and farmers, and not just them, but business owners too. A lot of small business people, they can't make a living anymore because everything's imported from China, and it's imported at pennies, and they can't operate on pennies. If you've ever had a business, you have certain fixed costs, and your products that you sell, reflect what you got to cover your costs, and you're in business to make money. You don't do it just for the fun of it. So anyway, let me get off my soapbox. This is what I'm going to call Whatever Wednesday. So we can talk about whatever's on your mind on Wednesday. John Deere's laying off, moving a facility to Mexico. Yeah, after showing $60 billion in profit in 2025. You got it, Tractor Man. There's a perfect example, and I'd heard that. John Deere been making tractors in the United States for probably over 50 years. But it's all about making a buck. And 60 billion's not enough. I agree, Chris. The government control on land. So, if you got some land, hang on to it. Because people are selling it off right and left. Only 10 billion in profit out of 60. Okay. Well, thanks for correcting me on that. Only 10 billion, just a drop in the bucket. I ran out of space. Tractor Man 44. Now, Tractor Man, he knows about tractors. He's been around them all his life from what I can get. If y'all haven't checked out his website, go give him a follow on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. Go check him out. And he's got some really good videos. So, yeah, give him a follow, too, while you're at it. Oh, let's see here. What's going on? Celia. You have a great day. All right, man. Thanks. We had somebody had to drop off and go to work. My God, they had to go to work. How about that? So what I think what I'm going to do today, if I get time, is I'm going to see if I can message you through TikTok or YouTube. The thumbnail I want to start using on the lives. And if you join the live, you may have seen it. I don't know what you see on your end, but instead of just the Dave Shop logo, it's it's advertising morning coffee talk, and it's just I think it looks a little better, and I wanted to use it because the way YouTube does stuff is they after the live's over, they turn the live into a full recording, and it doesn't. They get more views. I'm selfish. What can I say? They get more views if they have a appealing thumbnail, and so that's what I Texas, the other country. Oh, That's funny, my God. So yeah, I was promoting the Elgin Ruckus wireless earbuds this morning because they're made in Fort Worth, Texas, you know, if you don't need them, then don't worry about them. But if you do need some, I would definitely tell you that they're good quality and they're made in Fort Worth, Texas, and you should at least give them a looky-loo. That's great. So back to Christmas. Some of us have done our Christmas shopping, and some of us haven't. That's my biggest thing at Christmas is, you know, you ask your wife, hey man, what would you like for Christmas? Most of the time they don't even need you to get them anything for Christmas. They're like, or at least mine doesn't. Most of the time she's like, well, you know, I picked this up for myself, and so I'm going to make that my Christmas gift. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, that's how I get notified that she bought her own Christmas present. So I always have to try to think. Luckily I have a daughter and I can ask her, hey, what's your mother giving you any ideas? She gets a few ideas, but I usually don't get any. So if you have a daughter, ask your daughter that. Your wife may have mentioned something to her about that. You know, what's funny I'm talking about ranchers, and I definitely support our local ranchers here. But I want to tell you, I want to buy beef from them. And I think this just kind of comes into play because of inflation and what stuff cost. But, you know, I think they were selling, this last guy I checked with, and I bought some from him, but I couldn't afford to buy a whole lot from him because his price was, you know, nearly 3 times as much as you could go to HEB and buy the same thing and buy ground beef. He was selling hamburger meat for $12.95 a pound. Now I want to tell you, we bought some of it. We didn't buy a lot, but we bought 10 pounds, and whew, that hamburger meat had a great flavor to it. So, you know, maybe that's what it is. It's a difference in how the animals are raised and treated, and I guess it you know, it has an effect on how it tastes. And I'm sure it's probably better for you and doesn't have all the stuff that they do. I don't know the whole process of meat packers these days. And but, you know, it's funny. I watched a video on and it was talking about butchers. And if you're my age or around my age and you say a butcher, most people know what you're talking about. They're like, oh yeah. But you know, when I was a kid, there were, I think, 2 butchers in our town. They both had butcher shops. Well, that's where everybody went and bought their meat. They didn't go to the grocery store and buy it most of the time. They went to the butcher. You want a good steak? You go to the butcher. And the butcher, actually, that was a career, and it paid pretty good if you were a butcher. And I can even remember when Mr. Butt, H.E. Butt, still owned HEB, and you would go into his stores, and there was a butcher counter. They had butchers back there cutting meat, and now they have kids back there just with packaged meat. I mean, they do some stuff, but a lot of their stuff is you know, it comes in and they're not doing the butchering anymore. Oh, okay. So Tractor Man buys. So, you know, that, and if you know how to do that, I think it's great. And plus you got to have, you know, you do got to have the freezer space to be able to store it. But yeah, I mean, Tractor Man, he just buys 2 beef halves, and then he processes it himself. And yeah, if you have that and you know how to do that, I think that's great. I grew up around it and miss motors. Wow. That's crazy. My wife. Yeah, exactly. That's too funny. Yeah. So see, you're right. It does say um, everything's, it's China, Bangladesh, Taiwan. Um, I don't know. I just wish and I don't have anything against any of those countries as far as the labor goes. They're trying to do what we're trying to do, take care of themselves and their families. But I'd just like to see more stuff made in the USA again and not taken overseas. I think that one thing alone would improve our economy. And speaking of economy, hey Devin, how you doing? So Chris, how many head of cattle do you have? I know you have about 8 or 10 horses, but I didn't know how many head of cattle you had, or if you even had any. You don't own any. Okay, all right. I'm sure you have access to it since that's kind of the business you're around most of the time at the sale barns and all that other. So Chris, do you buy from a local rancher? I mean, how does that work? I mean, do you buy it like in advance? Like, hey, we had a calf born 2 months ago and you want that calf when it's big enough to slaughter. Okay. Cesar, good morning. So what do you think? Anybody over here on YouTube, what do y'all think about that? Y'all think that we should be promoting our local ranchers and spending taxpayer money here in the United States instead of spending billions or millions of dollars overseas? ¿Cómo está, Petro? Caesar, I'm good. It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. It's going to be a good day, I hope. Local for sure. Whatever Wednesday. Anybody got any questions? Different subject you'd like to talk about? Or I could ask you a quick trivia question. What question did I ask? So I don't know if any of you, hang on a second, let me find what I was looking at. I put it there. Oh. Guess I didn't. Maybe it's over here. I had a question I was going to ask. So I guess the question I asked last night on 16 days till Christmas was if you had completed your Christmas shopping or if you had gone into panic mode because you hadn't bought anything. Yeah, we have the whole setup. Walk-in cooler, bandsaw grinders, vacuum sealers, lots of knives. Dang. Got the whole setup. When I was a kid, one of the things that we did while I was in high school, at the time, there were still a lot of German farmers that farmed this part of the country, and hay hauling season when before round bales, these were all square bale, and that's what all the high school guys did is they come hay season we all hauled hay, and we hauled hay for a bunch of different farmers, and Some of it they sold, and some of it we put up in their barns and stuff for winter to feed their cattle and stuff and horses. But you just don't see much of that anymore. Of course, round bales have kind of taken over, and I get it because it's a lot less labor intensive. But man, I can tell you, we'd start before sunlight, and about noon we'd go to the farmer's house. We'd go to the house, and his wife would have cooked a meal fit for kings, and we'd all sit down and have a big old lunch. Well, about that time is usually the hottest part of the day, so everybody would just kind of lay around in the shade and take it easy for a couple of hours. And usually about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, we'd start again, and we'd work in till about 9 o'clock at night when it got dark. And I remember we had some good times, hard work, good times, but I just remember the food. My God, those farmers' wives had put on the spread. Now it was delicious. And unfortunately, there was a family here in the area. They were called, their last name was T-Lander, but they owned so much land. It was generational, and now there's a huge hotel sitting right where their homestead was. And the guy that I went to school with, he was adopted, and being, of course, his dad's been gone a long time, but he's gone too now, I found out. And I just drive by that, and it reminds me of what used to be there, and what progress is done and what's there now, and all that farmland that's gone, that's been taken over for roads and retail and housing. And I don't know. I think we need to be careful in the United States that we don't turn all our farmland into houses, because you'll have a lot of hungry people, I think. Machinery replace most of physical labor. Yeah, and that's not all bad. But the same thing in manufacturing. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. That's just one of those things where, I think as you age, you've seen all of the changes, especially if you've lived in an area of the country for a long time, for a lot of years. And, like I've just been in Central Texas here since 1974. So, and prior to that, I was in Northeast Texas, but, which was, there's some farming there, but more ranchers in that part of the country. And Central Texas had a lot of farmers when we moved here. So, yeah, a lot of agriculture. And that's, I can remember going out when a company I worked for, I was in the coffee business in West Texas, out of Lubbock. And, one of our biggest customers were cotton gins. I mean, and during cotton season, whoa, those places worked around the clock. And, you go to West Texas now, and there's still some cotton gins, and cotton is still farmed, but it's not anything like it was, 30 years ago. So just, sometimes, I guess, progress changes things, and progress can be good. But it can also be not so good. So let me see here. Let me see if I can ask a quick question here. I want okay. Here's a quick question. Let's see who can answer this question. Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald? Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald? Does anybody know? Put your answer in the comments. Anybody on YouTube know that answer? Who shot Lee Harvey Oswald? Yes, that is correct. Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald. That was during President Kennedy's era. Just have to. Really? Okay, here's one. Who ordered the Saturday Night Massacre? Who ordered the Saturday Night Massacre? Anybody know? No, it wasn't Trump. Anybody on YouTube know that answer? Who ordered the Saturday Night Massacre? And Tractor Man is correct. It is Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon. Are you sure? I'll be veiled in 3 ways. Let's see. Oh my God. Let's see. Oh my God. Okay. Here's one. This is just me asking. So he was Dallas PD. My dad worked during that time. He worked on the Garland PD, which is Garland, Texas, is up around Dallas. Yeah. I got sidetracked here. All right, so here we go. Put in the comments, what's your favorite Christmas tradition? You have one? You know, we kind of have one here. One of the ones that that we like to do every year is we go to Georgetown, Texas, where the county seat is for Williamson County, and they have a big square there. And that city goes all out, and we go see the Christmas lights and walk the the square where they have all the shops open at night during the Christmas season, and do some business with local vendors. And it's just, it's all a family thing. You see families that come early before it gets dark, and they'll set up on the courthouse lawn and set up their chairs and blankets and set out. And so, yeah, that's one thing that we like to do. And we've been doing it for quite some time. Of course, it's gotten really, every year I'm surprised by something. They put up a huge Christmas tree outside on the courthouse lawn, and they decorate, and all the shops are open, and people are walking on the sidewalks, and talking to each other. And there's a local ice cream shop there. So, yeah, kind of a family thing. Cutting down fresh Christmas trees. So, Ed, I mean, do you, I'm assuming you go to a Christmas tree farm, and it always, when you say you cut down Christmas tree, the first thing that came to mind was Chevy Chase and taking his family out in the wilderness, and they get out there to cut down the Christmas tree, and he doesn't have anything to cut it down with. Straps it on top of his station wagon. I'm sure Ed probably goes way more prepared, but that was the first thing that came to mind. Oh, that's funny. Don't guess. I can point to one thing. Okay, what is it, Chris? The last couple of years, we've gone to a farm an hour north of Wisconsin. Okay. And so, do you actually cut the tree down yourself? Huh. I don't have a particular thing that's my favorite. Wow, that's pretty cool. And so I'm guessing if you're going to a tree farm, like they probably have rows of how they have them planted, and you just go pick out the one you want and cut it down. Huh. We haven't had a fresh Christmas tree since I was a kid. Of course, y'all remember, if you go back as far as I do, you remember those old silver, I think it was when they first came out with artificial Christmas trees, and they were like pretty sparse. They didn't look anything like a tree other than, the shape. And they were like silver. You could get them silver, pink, different colors. Yeah, I would think that that's probably right, Ed, because it's kind of like your grandparents had one of those silver ones. Yeah, I think we had one when I was a kid too. There's about this much space between the limbs, and you have some little look like Charlie Brown. It was a big version, but it looked like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. I just remember those silver fake Christmas trees, and they were popular too back then. But prior to that, we always had, of course, we didn't go out in a field and cut it. There was always a Christmas tree, a local vendor that would have them, and of course, you could go pick them out. And there's still some here. There's probably at least 2, maybe 3 here in Austin that do it, but they're nurseries, and they just they sell Christmas trees this time of year with the multicolor rotating wheel. Absolutely. And didn't that sit like behind the tree or under the tree so that it projected the lights up? Yeah. Allsup's. Okay. If y'all don't know what Allsup's is a convenience store chain in West Texas. If you ever go through West Texas, they're in West Texas and also in parts of New Mexico. And a lot of places. So there's 2 things in West Texas still today that I always know that you're in West Texas is Allsup's, the convenience store chain, and Dairy Queen. I'm pretty sure all of you heard of Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen's been around since I was a kid. I remember I lived in a town that I think there was about 300 people in that town. It had a Gulf station, it had a cafe, and a mom and pop like convenience store. And that was it. That was all there was. And there was one main road that ran through the town. Well, there was 2. There was one that ran through the actual downtown part of it, and then there was one long that it was called Skyline Road, and that road was probably I don't know 2 miles long, and there were houses on both sides. And at the end of it was an elementary school, and that's all there was in that town. And then they outside of town, they built a highway. And the reason they built the highway is because the Corps of Engineers dug Lake Ray Hubbard, which is a lake in northeast Texas between Garland, Rowlett, and Rockwall counties. And they built a bridge to go across the lake into Rockwall County. And so they built a big highway there. And of course, all the business was in town, and the highway bypassed the downtown part of the town and went on the outer edge, which happens a lot for whatever reasons. That's how they did it. And we watched the Corps of Engineers when I was in elementary and middle school dig that lake and put it all together. And so when that happened, I remember just being super excited. A Dairy Queen put a location right on the highway, and that's kind of what started the businesses along that highway. I think when I was a kid, there was the Dairy Queen, and there was a gas station, convenience store, bait, where they sold bait. It was one of the first jobs I actually worked at. I think I was making 35 cents an hour, and my job was to I was a minnow dipper. So you sit back there in the tank and you'd dip up minnows a dozen at a time and bag them up and for customers. So that I did that. And then I got promoted to work in the feed store, because they had a little feed store too. And the job there was unloading feed trucks. And back then you didn't unload feed trucks with a pallet jack and a pallet. It was all by hand. So that was some pretty hard work. I remember that. But yeah, I was excited to have a job. So that's what happened. And it always reminds me of Dairy Queen, because that Dairy Queen, good and bad, kind of, it didn't put the cafe out of business, but it really hurt their business because a lot of people gathered at the Dairy Queen. If you ever go through West Texas, you'll find that the Dairy Queen is kind of like the local gathering spot for ranchers and farmers, and they'll turn that into where they go meet and do kind of what we do. We do it online. They do it at the Dairy Queen and drink coffee and talk about the day before they get started. So yeah, so I always know when I'm of course I've been to West Texas a bunch, but if you're ever going through West Texas and you see Allsup's and Dairy Queens, you're home. They closed most of them. I know. A lot of the Dairy Queens have closed. There you go. There's Dairy Queens in just every town in Northeast Illinois. That's great. I know that it had expanded in a lot of parts in West Texas. Dairy Queens were in small towns. I mean, if you're familiar with West Texas, there's a town that I used to go through all the time. It's outside of Brownwood, Texas. It's called Bangs, Bangs. And I'm going to tell you, it wasn't nothing but a spot in the road. If you blinked your eye, you missed it. But I always remembered that town because the one thing it had was a Dairy Queen, and that was the gathering spot. So I don't know if that Dairy Queen's still in Bangs or not. It's been a while since I've been through that town. Yeah, because they are in small towns. People move away from those small towns, and there's just not enough business to keep them going. Progress, I guess, right? Isn't that what they say? Isn't it progress? Well, guys, it's been a whatever Wednesday. Thank everybody for joining again today. And guess what we're doing tomorrow? Yep, Thursday trivia. So y'all dust off those brain pans, and hopefully Ed won't spank your britches like he did last week and have all the correct answers. You never know, though. He's a pretty smart cookie. So yeah, it'll be fun tomorrow. Kelly Rosenthal, good morning. How you doing? I'm glad to see you back. I appreciate it. So I'd tell everybody, if you haven't followed, follow, like, share, bring a friend. You can bring a friend tomorrow too, especially we can, if they're not, don't bring a real smart one. Bring someone that can't answer questions, and we'll spank their britches on their first day. What do y'all think? No, I'm just kidding. You can invite anybody you want, even if you don't have any friends. Anyway, so it's 6:53. I have a action-packed day at my other job, but it's been fun this morning. You let me just rant and rave and talk about things made in America. Again, I'd tell you, check this company out. They're in Fort Worth, Texas. Check them out. They're on Amazon and TikTok Shop. I think the TikTok Shop has a better price on them right now, but those things are super comfortable wireless earbuds. And, they're not going to fall out of your ear if you're out walking and hit a bump because, one, they're around your neck, and two, it's the type of silicone tips they have. So, some people have small ear canals, others have larger ones, but these are one size fits all. So, yeah, check them out. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. I want everybody to go out and do something kind for somebody because you never know when your act of kindness is going to do for someone else. Get to doing that Christmas shopping because you don't want to be waiting last minute. Even if you're getting it on Amazon, now's the time to start gathering all that stuff because they do have to ship it all to us. And I'll be back this afternoon with a day. What day am I on? I don't even know what day I'm on. What's the date? Let me look at my watch. It's the 10th. 15 days till Christmas today. So check out my 15 days till Christmas video later. Thank you, everybody, for joining. What is it? Hang on. Kelly, good, just waking up to snow and cold. That's Michigan, though. Yeah, if you're in the Northeast like Ed and some of the other guys, unfortunately here in Central Texas, we don't see snow very often at all. And when we do have any snow, it's usually a little bit, but mostly followed up by freezing rain and ice. But I see poor Ed, he's out doing his walks. And I just, as a quick reminder to everybody, make sure you go support his videos. He posts them on TikTok and YouTube. He's on a trek for 365 days. He goes for a walk, rain, sleet, or snow, and takes a picture. And a lot of his pictures right now are backgrounds of, the snow, and it's really pretty. Unfortunately, he does... he doesn't always look like he's having a great time because it's really cold outside. But he's out there walking and he gets it done and gets the pictures. And we got to figure out something to do to celebrate when he gets to the 365th day, because not very many people can commit to doing anything for 365 days straight. And so I definitely commend Ed for that. And we can all use him as a mentor and example. So until tomorrow, guys, have a great day. Thank you for joining. And I'll see you back here at 5:45 tomorrow for Thursday trivia. So everybody have a great day.